we have the opportunity to bring you guys the option to have major medical, dental, and vision as 1099 contractors. And you guys, people in this room and the people who are watching us online, are being given the opportunity to be part of kind of the guinea pig group that we're going to put together. And we've spoken with you guys now 2 or 3 times. And Chesterfield, what is Chesterfield always for us? The test case. So this is the test case. I want you guys to ask them tons of questions. I want you guys to really understand what's going on. And then I'm going to want you to be patient with us while we get this up and running and going. And know that we're committed to making it work. Okay? Awesome. Take it away.
Hi, how you all doing? This is Mike Eagle. Mike Eagle is going to be more of your point of contact for the Chesterfield location. So all those questions, we'll go through Mike Eagle first. If you can't get a hold of him because he is kind of a bum sometimes, go ahead and call me. This is, and I was just briefly saying, we're going to talk about insurance. Usually it's not as an exciting conversation as it is with this scenario. I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. Rebecca, she's already heard a little bit of the backstory, but we basically ran into this about a year ago now. We had a real estate agency that said, hey, you can do our other insurance pieces if you could find medical for my agents. We just started talking to a carrier that said they've been working for with 1099 agents and other independent contractors for roughly around 5 years. So they have already been doing it, so it's not something new to them. This is not, hey, we're going to be the guinea pigs the first time on this plan. Not happening. So a year ago, we got this agency up and running, and we didn't think anything about it. $5 in the jar. So we didn't think anything about it the first time through. And the next thing you know, we started getting calls from that agency saying, hey, another agency wants you to do the medical insurance also. And we're like, okay. Next thing you know, we're up to 10 different agencies. We're working from St. Louis all the way up to the Chicago markets. We're working with some Keller Williams already on the Chicago side. You guys will be the first in fully enforced program. We're still doing getting all the agencies up and running up there. So just to give you a little bit about, you're not the first, so it's already been tested, but you will be the first around here that got everything lined up. And what I mean by everything, we are going to talk about medical, so medical products for you and your family. We're going to talk about dental for you and your family. We're going to talk about vision for you and your family. We also have access to group short-term disability, so protecting that income if something were to happen to you. Great rates on that as well. We also have accident and also dental insurance, a scholarship program for your children, grandchildren,
recording live.
Scholarship program for your nieces, nephews, children, grandchildren, which is a great thing to have. And the other thing is pet insurance. I laugh at that, but it is amazing how many people want something for their dogs, their cats, their snakes, birds, and everything else. So I'm a very kind of casual presenter, meaning that if you have something that you want to ask a question about, you're probably not the only one thinking about it. If it's a more personal question, please come and see me or Mike after the meeting, okay? So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. You guys have a sheet in front of you. This kind of keeps me on track, and also it's something for you to think about as well. So first of all, the medical plan. So the medical plan that we have it's either on Aetna or Cigna's network. It's a true PPO plan, which means that they have in-network physicians, hospitals, so on and so forth, or out-of-network. You can go to anyone. It's not the HMO. You don't have to have referrals to go to wherever you want. So if any of you people come from the typical corporate arena, just like you're going to get on a W-2 kind of scale, okay? we will probably look at the Cigna or Aetna network. There is a HealthLink, but that's more of the rural. What we've seen around here is Cigna's probably the strongest one that we can get access to. The way that the plan works in this arena is everyone is going to fill out an application online, right? And after you fill out that application online, we send it to the medical carrier. That medical carrier will underwrite the whole group. So you might be wondering, what's the rates been looking like? That's really the big question that most people will have. The rates that we have seen so far, our lowest rate is $257 a month per agent, all the way up to $450, $475. That's where the range is. So if it's a younger group, you're in the $257. Middle group's probably around the $300. A little bit older, you're going to hit the $475 mark. Some health history, so on and so forth. Family has been somewhere between $900 to $1,500 on the family side. So it's really nice because most agents that have to go to the marketplace or they're not on their spouses, those rates that you're seeing on the marketplace are vastly more expensive unless you're getting the subsidies. If you are getting subsidies, this might not be your route, which is okay. Once this plan is done, you fill out your application, we get the plan up and going. Basically, we come back with the rates and you say, yes, I want to get on it or not. And then once that's done, that is a plan that will renew a year later, just like your standard renewal. So if we got this up at 1/1, it would renew again on 1/1. Does that make sense to everybody? Everyone's kind of familiar with that anyways. It has Teladoc in the plan, which to me is, as a person that has 4 kids, ranging from 14 to 2, save me. If one of my kids gets sick, and I've already gone to the pediatric office, I can call up and say, hey, my other kid also has bronchitis. Well, I don't have my doctor fee. I don't have to take time off of work. I don't have to get my schedule all changed up. The Teladoc is great, and it'll help you with your doctor visits and your pharmacy because they can prescribe prescriptions over the phone. Going on the RX side, this is just like your typical W-2 plan. It does have tiers for your pharmacy. So you might have generics are $10 and so on and so forth. This plan, we'll give you an example of it. I'll shoot it to Rebecca. Rebecca will send it out to you. The reason I don't give it a summary of what the plans that we've been utilizing is because usually people thumb through it for about 30 minutes and then afterwards they ask me the questions I just went over. So if you're wondering why that's not here, that's why. You guys, we'll pick the deductible based off of where you guys come in at rate-wise. So if you guys are super healthy and the rates are really great, maybe we go from a $3,500 deductible to a $2,500 deductible, depending on what we see rates coming in, okay? Now, with these plans, they will be drafted out of your bank account, and this is on all the plans. So if you choose something, it'll come out of your bank account. It's not something that Keller Williams is going to collect. It's going to be just like you do with the marketplace, right? You have to go online, set up the bank drafting, and that goes on. As long as you're paying the premiums, you're on the plan. If you don't pay the premium, you're off the plan until the next year. So just kind of keep that in mind. So any questions so far? Please.
If you're in the marketplace now,
Yes.
and you guys are just putting this together and we know we have to renew by the 15th of
Yeah.
December, should we just stay in the marketplace until you guys get into play?
Yeah, so let's say that maybe this doesn't completely get off the ground until 2/1 as an effective date. Stay with the marketplace for now, and then you can jump off. It is a qualifying event because it is a plan that you guys have access to, just like any other time. So you can make that change and there's not going to be a penalty. If for some reason that you got off the plan later, by the way, it's not a qualifying event because you still have that in place. Okay, does that make sense? Any other questions based off of that? So the answer is yes, do the marketplace, and then when this comes on, you can make that change. Yes, sir?
So if you're not covered January 1 and this comes into play later, can you still get on the plan?
Yes. and the rates won't change. So if you come in on February, the rates won't change. So what I encourage most people get on, of course, in the beginning when we put it up, because that spreads out the risk, which also makes it a lot easier for us to get the underwriting at a better number. Okay. I will, in one mention, if you are a person that has more catastrophic, you know that you have some major issues coming through, I would recommend utilizing the marketplace until those are over. And the reason being is because that'll affect your plan moving forward. The rates don't change until renewal, but if you have major ones and you already have them planned out through the marketplace, do it on the marketplace because it'll save everyone and yourself moving forward, if that makes sense. Okay?
Can you give an example?
So let's say someone knew that they were going to have a hip replacement. Let's use that, right? Hey, I have it scheduled for February. I'm going to jump on your plan and then go down that road. I would make the suggestion that stay with the marketplace because you can abuse and use that one, and it's not going to make any difference. But if you do that on the plan, that the renewal will be a little bit more moving forward. Just kind of more of a considerate aspect. Any other questions on the medical?
I have somebody that just
Yes.
texted in one. If I'm currently covered by my wife's plan and she leaves work, would that be a qualifying event so that I could enroll in the group plan?
It's a qualifying event, yes.
There you go.
Now, on that same thing is if they notice that this is a better program than what they're currently and the rates are coming back, they can jump on the plan also. We've had that happen where about 2 months in, the husband and the wife have been talking and they're like, hey, that one seems better for us right now. It's cheaper, better coverage. Let's go ahead and make that jump. So that works out. If you get off the plan, once again, though, you can't get back in until the next renewal. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk a little more about what is under the deductible you have to come up with?
The deductible that we've been currently using is a $3,500 deductible for the agent, and then a $7,000 deductible per family. That's the one that has been pretty standard with us at this point in time. There are co-pays, so I think the co-pays that we've been utilizing frequently are the primary care is $35. Preventative is covered 100%, just like most plans. But your primary care doctor visit is $35, and specialty doctor visits are $75.
What's the percentage that they pay after the deductible?
There's a sheet that I'll get to you after we're done. It'll show you what it is, and I'll send that out also in an email based off of just what the standard is right now.
So my other question is, on the marketplace, I'm paying a ridiculous amount of money. It's like almost $800 just
Yeah.
on me.
Yes.
So it's very appealing that you're telling me that it could potentially be $400. That's a huge difference.
Yes.
Is that just because it's a group plan?
Yeah, and I'll give you a little bit of education on the market plans. The market plans, most people that got on the market plans were sick. And then you're forced to get on it because now I'm trying to deal with high-end issues, also paying a lot of extra coverage for people that they're still getting the subsidies, so you're ending up paying for those people. In this case, you're basically a group, and they're going to write you as a group. Now, if everyone in here was sick, guess what? You might be close to that $500, $600 per agent fee. I don't see that. None of you guys look too bad. Plus, you got to run everywhere else. So maybe one or two, but that's seriously no. But group rates have always been better than going out to community rates. That's also the same thing on the dental division and everything else we have. There's a reason, because they know that it's not just someone who got subsidies and they're only paying like $30 a month for their plan, and you have to pick up the slack. Everyone's at the same risk value. Other questions?
Let me add just one thing to her point about the share part of that, the deductibles paid. There are multiple tiers that we get, and part of our job in crafting this plan for you is to figure out at what price point, what share of that deductible then coverage afterwards. So that's part of where the magic sauce comes in, and part of our expertise and what we bring.
Because you have a true brokerage firm working it for you. That's what a brokerage firm does with, you know, Deerberg's right next door or whoever else. They come in, they look at the plan, they negotiate your renewals and everything else. We have an in-house underwriter that we pay because that's what he does. He helps us negotiate. That's where you get the benefit of having the brokerage. Plus, anyone that's on the marketplace, do they love that 1-800 number? No. At this point in time, you'll have Mike or the account executive that's on your plan, probably Elena, that you call them. Hey, I'm having a claim issue. What do I need to do? And they'll walk you down that path, or they'll look into it themselves. So now you actually have a service team behind you instead of the normal, I'm on hold and this music I've heard before. That's what we're trying to get away from also. Yes, sir.
Are there, I assume there are higher deductible options available?
We only do one plan design for an organization.
Okay.
We try to keep it standardized for a couple of different reasons. One, the chaos and communication of benefits. Also the carrier. If we can keep everything pretty standardized, it's going to be easier to do a renewal across the board. And so that's why we're trying to keep everything in that same arena. Speaking of renewals, one of the things that we're doing, yes, the renewal is going to be based off of your guys' organization and your health history and everything else, utilization of the plan. But as we keep growing, we get what we call critical mass in large numbers that allows us to negotiate what those rates are potentially going to be based off of everybody's that's underneath this umbrella, the real estate. I call it the real estate block. Everyone that's under that real estate block, we can start shifting to make the renewals not as painful, if that makes sense. Spread the risk. Yes, sir.
Besides the customer service that you offer, what are you seeing based on whatever data you have so far, savings by comparable?
To the marketplace?
Yes.
Oh, drastic.
Like 10 to 40, 10% to 40%?
Well,
savings,
and let's
30%?
use what was your name?
Kelly.
Kelly. Let's use Kelly for an example. If Kelly's paying $800 currently, and we come into that 300 range, which is probably pretty average for us, that's amazing for her because it's saving her $500 a month. I'll use a lady up in Chicago. For her family, she is paying $2,700 to $2,900 a month, and we were coming in at $1,500. So she's saving $1,000, $1,200
Thank you.
per month. So it's a drastic savings. It's been pretty good so far.
On the employee and children plan, how many children are covered under
All of
that?
them.
Okay.
And
the family, it would be
all of
add
them.
a spouse?
Yeah. The families, you just add the spouse, yes.
Okay, but without the spouse, it would be considered employee and children?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. she might be thinking about it. Yeah.
I'd be cheaper.
He doesn't know it yet, but yeah.
Can you share more than one spouse?
We don't have the Mormon plan in just yet, so no. Any other questions on the medical?
Oh, one more question on the tiers. So you'll choose the tier, we don't get a choice of the tier?
We do it as an agency level. So we look at
tier 2 or tier 2, the whole group is tier 2?
Yes. So we if the deductible is going to be $2,500, the deductible is going to be $2,500 across the board. Just for now, we might change that later on to offer two dueling plans. Let's say a high and a low level. But right now, this is a better option for us. Which brings up another point. We are evolving with this on an ongoing basis. We have special underwriting from Guardian, special underwriting from the medical carrier as well. So as it grows, we're going to keep adding more and more to it. Another piece to it that's similar to the medical, we also have a Medicare specialist that's in play as well. So if you or your parents or some people that have the Medicare, hey, I'm about to jump on it, what does that look like? What are the rates going to be on a MedSup or a MedAdvantage or a Medicare plan? We have a team that's their whole job. So it's nice. So if you or anybody else is going down that path, you have someone that's there, that's what they do nationally, is to help you out. Yeah.
Is there an age limit on the kids that you can?
26.
26, okay.
This plan is a standard ACA plan, so it follows all the ACA guidelines. You'll hear some people talk about, oh, I'm on this faith-based Christian plan, or I'm on this minimal essential coverage plan. This is not one of those. This is a full-blown group medical plan. Because we had one real estate agency that, oh, this other guy's selling this faith-based plan, and it's $100 cheaper. There's a reason.
I checked into that, they were looking at real close.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, if you get hurt, if you're on some kind of substance, or you smoke cigarettes or whatever, they don't cover you.
And they don't have to pay.
They get put in a lottery and they don't have to pay.
Yep.
They get to decide as a group if they want to pay your bill or not.
Yep. So just to let you know, that's one of the stages out there. Anything else on the medical? I'm going to jump into the ancillary coverages as well.
What about pre-existing conditions?
So pre-existing, they're covered. Goes back to what I was saying before. If it's something high end, come and talk to us. One of the things, if you do have a high end, don't be surprised if one of us reaches out to you and talks about strategy. And we say, hey, have you looked at the different drug utilizations? I'll use an example. I have one person on one plan that spends $75,000 a month on pharmaceutical. $75,000 a month. If we had that person on our plan, it would destroy it. No one would probably get on this plan. So what we do is we say, hey, have you looked at the generic? If the generic is not, let's talk about how we keep you over here on the marketplace. Most people are pretty, they understand that we will reach out to them. Doesn't mean you have to, but I look at it as the group think, and the group, taking care of everybody else.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this only for real estate, people in real estate?
The 1099?
No, this program that you're offering. This group.
So we can sell this to other 1099 entities. I think I have one other one that we're utilizing. But our focus and our sole focus is the real estate agencies at this point in time. One, because there is a definite need. And honestly, we got a phone call last night for another one. And hey, can you be here on the 28th? So, we just been focusing on the real estate.
So if we know other 1099s that aren't in our industry, we're allowed to tell them about this program or not?
They can't get on your plan.
They can't.
No. They could set up a 1099 group underneath where they're at.
Gotcha.
But no, this plan, the only people that are on it are licensed agents. And we can also do the W-2s, but that's a different story, from this organization. So, anything else?
Does it have to be licensed people, or is it anyone I-1099?
That's a good question.
One of the reasons that we like it so much is because according to the IRS guidelines, it says that real estate agents are statutory independent contractors, correct? Which means that as long as they have a contract from an agency and they're getting their commissions paid directly to them or their own LLC, they're a statutory 1099. That allows us to be a lot more aggressive in what we do without breaking that corporate shield. Not saying that we can't do those. I would like to have the question, or I'd like to have the conversation with you probably on the other side.
We just have some transaction coordinators that may or may not be licensed that work for multiple agents.
Oh,
and
okay.
1099 some of them.
Okay, I think that might be a different conversation because if we're putting it under the same umbrella and it's still in the same field, yes.
Okay.
I would say that it's not going to be an issue. It's when there's other things like, you have a groundskeeper that's a 1099 guy. I probably would say, let's look at that a little bit differently.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Any other questions on medical? Yes, sir.
As a group plan, I imagine that the price comes from the amount of people in the group. That's definitely one variable, right?
Risk, yes, risk and pool number.
So we're experimenting with just the Chesterfield office, is that right?
We are looking at just the Chesterfield office right now, and from what I was told, it was basically if we could start with a smaller, super healthy group.
So we should
I don't have agents and license, so I'll say whatever I want.
Turn the camera off now.
Rates as maybe a 10,000 person group that has a lot of different pre-existing and other conditions going on. Now, we'll see over time, but the group has to be everyone that's 1099 by that EIN. So that could only be this group of agents that I pay.
So that goes back to a little bit what we were talking about before. Yes, the risk pool, the more we have, we spread the risk out. That's why with this medical carrier is so nice, that on an individual group, we get to underwrite. But because we're doing this whole real estate block, I can go back to the carrier and say, hey, this whole real estate block is running this well. Yes, this one is not doing that great. Let's take 0.25% from all of them to lower that down by maybe 5%. Does that make sense for your guys' group? So you're not getting judged just off of your organization. As we grow, you'll be your organization with an underlying layer of the whole book of business. It's called portfolio shifting, if you want to look at it that way. Yes, sir.
So, just so I understand correctly, each family or individual is going to be underwritten separately and priced
No, the rates are going to be there's only going to be 4 rates. So there's going to be an agent rate, agent and spouse, agent and child, the family.
Okay.
Those rates, just because you were underwritten and your health is different than the other person next to you, if you guys are on the same tier, you're still going to have the same rates. It's just the group is underwritten. The whole group is underwritten. So they do look at everyone's information, but the rates take that into consideration.
Then secondly, are you allowed to, like I've got really good medical coverage right now through like a COBRA program, right?
Yeah.
And are you allowed to just add the dental and the vision?
Absolutely. Everything's a la carte.
Okay, great.
So, and that's I guess the segue into the next piece. Unless there's any more medical questions.
One
Yeah.
other question, is the 26 up to 26 or does it include 26-year-old?
The age of 26, you're done. So just keep that in mind. Just kick them out. So go ahead.
Okay, so through 25.
Yeah.
I just want to ensure.
So now going into the ancillary carriers, the ancillary products. Yes, you don't have to have medical to get any of the other ones. You don't. So everything you can pick on a one-off basis. Now, there's some benefits to have the group pricing, but you already have the group pricing access on the ancillary. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So the dental plan, group dental plan, it has 3 different basically facets to it inside, and you'll see it when I send it to you. It's going to say this network, this network, this network. Every network that you go to is going to give you a little bit more coverage and reduce how much you're going to pay out of pocket. But you can put yourself, just like the medical, yourself and spouse, yourself and child, and the family on it, okay? It is through Guardian, and Guardian's a national network, so you'll have access to basically everywhere you go. I still would look it up on the Guardian website to see if your current provider is on there. Just for your own personal knowledge, if your current provider is not on there, your current dentist is not on there, guess what? Call them. They'll usually work with you and say, well, okay, if you're on it, maybe I'll look at getting contracted. It's them about getting contracted, if that makes sense, okay? If we get a sense that the families or the agents and children want ortho, we can add ortho to the plan, which is kind of nice as a kid, person with 4 kids. I like the ortho because it's like an extra $10 a month, but it covers $1,000 per child. And the rates don't change on the agent tier or the agent spouse tier because they don't have any kids in it, but it would change for the other people, okay? It has a rollover benefit, so if you don't use all of the benefit that year, you don't lose it. They'll dump a portion of it back over so you can have that and your current year's plans benefit on top of each other, which is kind of nice. So used to be, hey, if I didn't use that, I just start over every year. This one is pretty simple across the board, okay? all of the Guardian plans except Vision also give you access to a college tuition benefit. And so that means any Guardian plan besides Vision that you get on, they'll give you $2,000 a year in scholarship credit for your children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephew. So it's to more of the private schools, so McKendree, Lindenwood, Fontbonne, Millikan, all those universities, instead of them spending a ton of money out in marketing and publicity, they attach themselves to the workforce. So if you get this plan and any of your beneficiary wants to go to one of these universities or colleges, they can use it and it'll help reduce the cost of their college. And it's $2,000 per each line, so you can get up to $8,000 a year in college credit, tuition credit for your kids.
Would that have to be used like that specific year, or does it like add up?
It just keeps adding up, and if you leave, it goes with you.
Okay.
The other great thing is, let's say my kids don't use it, but then I have grandchildren later on, it's still there for the grandchildren. I think there were, out of this program, how many billions was it last year was utilized, Mike?
Over 400,000 students have used it, I know.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the last tuition rate was.
I think it was like $1.5 billion or almost $2 billion from this program alone has been utilized for other colleges. That will also be in the email that Rebecca will forward out. When we talk about these, remember, if you have more questions, call Mike or myself, okay? Any more questions on the dental? The dental plan design itself will be in there, so you can see it's 100% covered for preventative, so on and so forth, okay? Yes, sir.
Do the benefits start immediately, or do you have to be on it for a year?
The benefits, there is no waiting period on that stuff.
For anything? Because sometimes there's, like for crowns there is, but not for.
I believe that this round of underwriting that we have, and it'll be on there, I don't think we have any waiting period or anything. Once again, this is because this has gone so well. The Guardian sees what the potential is going to be, and we're looking at going down that path. It looks as if we're not going to have rate increases for 2 years also. So I haven't confirmed it yet, but it looks like that's going to be coming down the pipeline. Yes?
So the pet insurance, is that something I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I'll jump to that. I mean, it's always fun. So let's say you have a pet and you're paying the premium. It's a $250 deductible. They will help you pay for your pharmacy, doctor visits, surgeries on any of your pets.
Up to a certain amount, I'm assuming.
Really, no. As long as you keep on using it. I know, and I have a cousin that spends $6,000 a year on their dog. This would eliminate that, and probably they would end up $500 total.
Now, is that something if people want it, you're gonna add it, or it just comes with it?
You add it.
You add it?
Yeah, it's an individual
pay the
product.
premium for the
You
year,
just
but-
pay it monthly.
It's
Um,
elected.
What is that
It's just
range?
like checking off
The range, I think each kind of pet is different, but I believe it's like 40 to 75 bucks, maybe something like that.
Maybe.
Something, but we have once again negotiated that there's a completely different price break for the whole state of Missouri just on this. So you'll be able to log in. I think it's Missouri Pet Insurance at Nationwide. It's nationwide, so it's a brand name carrier. And once you log in, you can see it. Also on this email, I'll put the rates for the pet insurance. There's a great video for the people that have pets. You might want to watch it. It's one that you're like, oh, what was I thinking?
I have
So
pet insurance now, it covers all their vaccinations and everything.
yeah, same thing.
It's really nice.
Same thing. But it's on a group chassis, so it means it's usually better than what you're going to pay on a personal level. So dental, the coverages and the plan designs will be on there. But once again, you pay one premium. The deductible, I think, is $50. And you pay that deductible, and then everything is based off of, utilization. Preventative is 100%, and then you have 80% and 50%, I think, on the different tiers, so major and the other side. Vision's pretty simple. The Vision is $850, I believe. And the great thing about these are they're static rates. So once you get it for an individual, it will cover all the way to family. You can do contacts, glasses. Material cost is $10. Oh no, exam cost is $10. Material cost is $25. And every year it resets. So it's great in that if you're a person that wears these or the contacts, it's not too bad, especially if your whole family does it, so it's even better. And the total family rate, I think is like $24, something like that. So it's nothing too crazy by any means. The thing I want to skip over to real quick is short-term disability, and we'll come back to the other side. Short-term disability to me is, as a person that is, I'd say the breadwinner for the family, if something happens to me, I want to make sure that I'm taking care of the rest of the family. Short-term disability, this one will cover up to 60% of your monthly income, correct? And with a max amount of $6,000 a month. And it can be adjusted. I mean, if you know that you only need $1,000 for, if something happened to you for 5 months or whatever, you can have that coverage if you needed it, or you can go all the way up to $6,000 if it's within that. Yes?
It says 6,000 annual max.
That must be a typo, but no, it's 6,000 monthly. Sorry.
Okay.
It's 6,000 monthly, which, $1,500 a week roughly. And they do it on a weekly basis. And if people aren't familiar with short-term disability, the way it works is if you are sick or you're in an accident and you can't go to work, they're going to supplement your income while you're down. Can also be used for maternity, which is great. So 6 weeks for, yes?
It says 7/7 or 14/14 waiting period.
Yes, so 7/7 and 14/14 means on a sickness and illness at 7 days, you have to wait 7 days before it'll kick in, and then after that it'll kick in. Or 14. Now if you do 14, it's going to be less because they're expecting you to wait longer, so the rates are going to be less. I typically go with 14/14 because I usually hopefully have money in the bank account where it's covering those 14 days. You can choose how long can you go without having that income, but this is a way that professionals that, if you got into a car wreck or you were down for whatever major illness, it's a good thing to have, in my opinion.
And then it says 13 or 26 weeks duration. That's the longest time.
Yes, you can have it for 13 weeks or you can have it for 26 weeks. Next year, we're planning on trying to do a long-term disability also on the plan, but right now this is what we have, okay? Any questions on short-term disability? Okay.
Do you have a general idea of just an example of pricing on it? I know it says...
It's all age-banded.
Okay.
So the younger you are, the rates are going to be different. On the sheet that I will send you, it'll have your age, and it's on increments, how much you want to cover. If you don't understand that, please call. If you're interested in short term, that one can be a little bit more confusing. Mike or I will walk you through that side of the house, okay? But it's definitely worthwhile. Yes?
One more quick question. On the critical illness, short-term disability, are those sort of a la carte things that you add to it, or does it come with a plan?
No, each one of these is a different plan. So I'm going to go to the accident and the critical illness next. So let's go back and accident. If you are an active person, you have kids that like to jump off beds and crack their face, or something along those lines, accident is a great thing to have, in my opinion. The rates are pretty simple. We have 2 different tiers that you'll have access to. You'll have a high tier and a low tier. I think the low tier, an individual is $12, and the family rate for that is like $26. They will cover broken bones, bee stings, car wrecks. They don't cover the car wreck itself, but if you got hurt in a car wreck, It also has an AD&D thing to it where if you have a dismemberment or you have a death that's based off of an accident, they'll give you so much money based off of that. For what it costs, to me, it makes great sense to have it. It is, everyone knows Aflac, the name Aflac and everything. They do serve a purpose. So if you are active, your kids play sports, you might want to look into this. And it has a list of everything it covers, and it's amazing. Go ahead.
Why, so are you saying in the regular plan, some of these things would not be covered then?
No, they're still covered. This is an indemnity plan. So basically you're paying insurance, and if something happens, they're just going to give you cash. And you can use that cash to help pay deductibles, time off, or, paying for doctor visits and things along those lines.
So it's not attached to the medical?
No, none of this stuff is attached to it. It's stuff that can help utilize during those pieces. Same thing with, and we'll touch on critical, well, anyone have questions on the accident? Okay. On critical illness, it's kind of the same thing. They'll give you cash. So you can pick on $5,000 increments up to $20,000. So what that means is, let's say I pick $20,000. Critical illness covers cancer, heart attack, stroke, end-stage renal, organ transplants, things along those lines. If any of those things happen to me, and I pick $20,000, they're going to give me a check for $20,000, and I can use it for whatever it needs to be. Is that going to cover everything? Absolutely not. But is it going to make my deductible go away? Yes. Is it going to help me with some of the income that I've lost? Yes. So great plans if you know that you have cancer and heart issues in your family. Critical illness is another thing to definitely look at. Any questions on that? You got no one?
And if we need to sidebar this, it's fine, but so, I haven't done this in a lot of years, but when I used to road race, there were some times when I did have some downs, and there were some discussions with the insurance company on coverage.
On exclusions?
Yeah, they did cover, but it was a whole auto versus whatever.
Yeah.
Auto.
So the accident plan would probably be a great thing for you to have. It's 24/7. I always use the example if my wife pushes me down the stairs. Yeah, I still get covered as long as I wasn't drunk, I guess, at that point in time. But it's a good thing to have. But I'll talk to you more about it. There's really no exclusions on these plans at this point in time. Thank you.
You went out and tried racing motorcycles.
The college tuition we kind of went over. Basically, on the dental, short-term disability, critical illness, and accident, if you get any of those plans, you're going to get $2,000 per each one of those plans, up to $8,000. That money goes into an account, and whenever any of those children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews utilize it, they'll have access to that money. It's a great program for people. People are like, well, what if they don't use it? Okay, it was free. It's one of those things. If you don't use it, great. Maybe your grandchildren or someone else will use it later. It can be willed down the line. So if I have it now, I can pass it on to someone else and they can utilize it also.
I'm sorry, did you say though it was only for use at private units?
It's only at certain schools. There's a list of them on the sheet that I'll shoot to you. Has a website. You can see them all.
About
There's
380 schools across the
Yeah, I think there's 380 universities and colleges. A lot of them are more like the Lindenwood, the Fontbonne, the McKendree, those private institutes. They also have some art schools, some vocational schools that are in there as well. So, I'm not a person that thinks that everyone needs to go and have a master's somewhere to do what they need to do. This is a great thing for them. Any other question on that?
I'm just curious, like, the zoo or?
None of the state schools.
No state schools.
No. They have a different budgeting, and it's state funded, so none of those are on there. Yes.
And can it be used in combination with other types of scholarships
Yes.
or grants?
Yes, it can. And just for an example, let's say you had $40,000 in that fund to give to like your child. They would break it up into 10,000 increments over 4 years, so it would reduce the tuition over the 4 years. They just don't want to give all the money at once, and someone does the first, 1 year, freshman year, drunk, and then they're out. They do it where it's covering over the 4 years. Any other questions on that? And so I want to touch base real quick again on the bank drafting piece of this. So What'll end up happening is if you choose any of these plans, we will coordinate with our vendor, and our vendor will help you set up the bank drafts, and those bank drafts will come out on a monthly basis. It's pretty simple. They do it with over, I think it's like 3 million different employees across the U.S. So for you guys, it really won't be much difference. There is a $3 fee per month to utilize that service.
Can you prepay it?
The whole thing, we have not done the whole thing prepay yet, just because it gets a little bit confusing to all parties, the carriers and the bank draft and, you know, the broker themselves. We might go down that path later, not sure yet.
Are they individually drafted, or is it kind of?
It's one bulk. Now, if you wanted to adjust that, say I want to drop, you know, critical illness, I got that, but I have medical. What we do is we coordinate with you and the vendor and say, hey, that's switching, we're dropping off this. Now the rate's going to be just this amount. At the bottom of this, for people that are interested, and we'll shoot this out to the people that aren't here, but on Facebook Live, on the bottom, you'll see that it says www.formfire.com, right? That is the address that you will start filling out your online application. For people that are pretty healthy as an individual, it'll take you 10 minutes. For people that have, let's say, a lot of pharmaceutical, or they have, you know, a lot of kids like myself, it's going to take you 25 to 30 minutes, okay, to fill those out. Once those are filled out, we send them to the carriers, and the medical carriers get the, they start doing the underwriting on the rates, but your rates for your vision, dental, and all those is already fixed, so I'll shoot those over to you as well. But this is where you start the process. This is only going to be open for 2 weeks to get it filled out. We'll give you information and we'll send you notifications, Rebecca will, on, hey, make sure you get this done, make sure you get it done. If you're not on it, you're not on it when it starts, okay?
Is there a minimum number of us employees that you need in order to get
Yes,
this?
it is a massive number and I hope we hit it.
Okay.
It's 2.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure we should hit that.
These are agents.
Yeah, I mean, which one is it going to know?
I got 2 24-year-old females. Can I just sign those 2 up and we'll catch a rate?
Well, we don't want it to go like, no. 24-year-old females are not the best ones to use.
They get pregnant.
Maternity is not where we want to start this off on. But so no, what we will do is, yes, people can get on it later. We don't want where we have 5 get on it and then we have 40 get on it the next month. We want to try to do it where majority of them work that first month and we move forward.
I mean, spread the word, people. If all of you are putting this out there, hey, the more we get in front of the agents that said they wanted to do this, it'll take 5 or 6 times. They'll thought they clicked on the link, they wanted to click on the link, they were going to click on the link.
Text me twice.
They didn't know it was the 26th. They thought it was another. Can they have one more day?
Do-
You need to just send an email out every day.
I'm going to tell you the funniest one is we had a lady that filled hers out. She's single mom. She filled it out. I mean, like we walked out the door and we got notification that she filled it out before I think I got to my car. And I'm like, woo! She hounded everybody else and said, hey, I need this done now. And she was just an agent. She's like, I want it done now. Can you hurry up? Just say no if you're not going to do it. I'm like, this is great. This lady's great. But once again, you guys have access to us on all of this. Rebecca and Mark have been great on letting us talk to you. And we look at, building this moving forward. So if you have any questions, Mike, myself, yes.
So one more time, on the rates, so we're not gonna know any of the rates, deductibles,
No,
any of that stuff.
on the medical.
On medical until we get the group together.
Yeah,
groups
this
of the rates.
so the interesting that you're wanting to go and just see what it's going to look like.
Yes.
So anyone that's interested in the rates, fill it out. And then what we'll do is we'll come back with the first round of rates and say, here you go. Guess what? Some people are going to be like, that's great. There's going to be some people, I'm going to stay with my spouses or whoever, and it's fine. There might be a little adjustment after that, but the rates will be pretty fixed from that point on, okay?
When is that, what's the timeline?
So, yeah, so if we leave this open for 2 weeks for people to fill out that information, it takes us about 7 days after that 2 weeks to get the rates back.
That's tight to the 15th.
It's tight to the 15th. What I was saying, and I think it goes back to, I forget her name. What was it? Kelly. I should have known this, Kelly, as many times. But no, I still suggest get on the plan. Go down the process like you're going to do the marketplace, and then if this comes back and it's an option, cancel it. You're good.
Okay, and is the Cigna Connect? What kind of Cigna is it?
We have 3 different ones with Cigna and 2 with Aetna, and it's all depending on that secret sauce.
Well, we'll look at the
But if
zip.
it's Cigna Connect,
No, this is more of the
That's
like
right.
plus and
Choice or?
I don't know if it's choice.
Okay.
I think that's a different carrier choice, but let me I'll shoot those to you. The ones that we've been using, I can actually pull it up here in a second.
Okay, and is there a way to check already to see if our doctors fall into any of these?
The thing I would do is I would check with Cigna in general, because usually if they're with Cigna, they almost all have. Well,
No, they don't.
yours might not. I mean I
Like,
use.
The marketplace is Cigna Connect.
Yeah, but that's a different standard.
Right.
That's a different.
And
That's a
it's all
different. Marketplace
something
is different.
That's it.
That's a different beast. But I'll shoot you or we can look at it right after this.
Please.
But it's one of it's 2 of their better networks.
Right.
And they're national networks. They're not the.
I'm trying to get my doctors back.
Oh, okay. Well, let's look at it.
Okay.
After this, we'll go through it, and any of you guys, if you guys are not sure, call us. I want to emphasize that one more time. Call us. Any other questions?
I have one quick one.
Yes.
So back to that 1099 thing that you were talking about before, does our 1099 that we're paying our admins or what have you need to be coming through the office, or can I be doing that?
No, as long as they're underneath you,
Okay.
that's what we've been doing so far. The carrier's been fine with it. So if you are the agent and you have your 1099 contractor underneath you, that's fine.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Basically, what they let us do is the hierarchy still throws up through the main agency.
Okay.
So if they have to leave you and go somewhere else, then that
Because
would be an
the
issue.
commissions flow from Keller Williams to you, which still are paying. That's how they're kind of cross-sectioning that.
Makes sense.
So just a quick question for people who may not be covered. So if you're not covered and you've had a lapse in coverage, you can still join this plan?
Yeah.
No matter what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is if you're not covered on anything right now and it comes back, jump on it. I mean,
Any time of
it's yes, but if you fill out the application and we put you into the system, I'm going to tell you that if you don't get on it at that point in time, they're going to say that you're already in the system. They're not going to let you back in it later. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. We'll be here answering questions. If anyone else sends any questions, let me know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I would like to speak with you.